What's up, YouTube? Broke Investor here. With the name of my channel, it's only fitting that I make a video to talk about why the poor are poor, and also how they can get out of that hole, and hopefully one day, be middle class or greater. So I'll start with some reasons that the poor stay poor, and then I'll just cover some ideas that could help the poor get out of their little hole. Anyway, one reason that I think a lot of people are poor is the lack of time, because they're working so much. So if you don't have time, extra time, you don't really have any energy or time to think about anything else. You're just assuming this is the way it is, and you go to work, you go home, you go to bed, or you eat and go to bed, and that's it. You have, most people that are poor or lower middle class are working one full-time job that's probably, it could take up 60 hours, or they're working a full-time and a part-time job. And they don't really have time to think otherwise of how they can fix their lives and get out of the hole that they're in. Another reason is when you grow up poor and you continue to remain poor. And again, when I say poor, I mean about middle class or lower, because nowadays middle class is basically poor. So you're at the bottom of the middle class. All right, I'm not talking like homeless. All right. Anyway, so a lot of people that grow up poor usually don't really have confidence or drive to do anything else, because that's what they're used to. So they're not thinking that they could be something else outside of that one day. They're just accepting what it is, and they're continuing to stay poor because that's how they're used to living. So again, if you're not confident that there's a chance otherwise, you're just gonna go with the flow and do what you think is the right way to do, which in most cases is not, because that's the only way you would know. Anyway, another reason I would say is they don't know any other way. Meaning, living paycheck to paycheck is unfortunately the norm for a lot of people. And when I say paycheck to paycheck, you're living, when you get paid, it's gone, and you're counting the days until the next paycheck. But you make it work. You make it just work, right? And poor people, they don't know any better. They don't know anything else. How is it possible to live otherwise? It's not. It's not possible to use your paycheck to have fun. Your paycheck is for bills, and that's just the ongoing understanding of the life that they're supposed to live. But that shouldn't be the way. The way why we work. We should be able to enjoy a little bit, not just forfeit our paycheck to bills. That, again, doesn't even cover the bills. It just covers the minimum payments, or, it just gets you by. So, again, when most poor people, they grow up living paycheck to paycheck, and they stay paycheck to paycheck because they don't know any better. They don't know a life outside of that, so they don't think it's really possible. Another reason the poor stay poor is not many people are on your side, meaning like lenders and banks, one and the same pretty much, but when the poor people, and I'm talking again, poor people, middle class to lower, these are people that they pay their bills, but they're just in massive debt because, they're buried. But when you go to get a car loan and your credit, unfortunately, won't be that good if your debt to income ratio is high, these financial institutions that are linked to the car dealerships, they're going to give you a high freaking rate. Obviously, new cars, you get a low ass rate, but when you're poor, you don't buy a new car, you buy a used car, and the used cars have the higher rates. So your car loan is gonna have a ridiculous rate, which makes your car payment higher. Since your car payment's higher, you need to make it smaller if possible, so you take the longest loan period, which is usually 6 years. And 6 years on a used car, that's a long ass time. So you'll be lucky if your car can survive that through it. And that's one side of it. As far as banks, checking accounts, savings accounts, these things have a minimum. They say, okay, your checking account must sustain a minimum of $500 or whatever dollars, or else you have to have this much direct deposit. It's like, what if the person that opens the account can't do that? What are you supposed to do? It's not really, banks aren't really catering to the less fortunate, to the poorer people. So, fuck the minimum. Just let someone, just call it the poor ass checking account or the poor ass savings account, and just let people live. Obviously, like I said, these people are the people that know how to live paycheck to paycheck, so they just make it with their bills. They usually don't bounce checks, but God forbid you bounce a check, here's $30 freaking fee against your account, so you have to refund that. So, plus you probably got to pay the fee on the other side from the other bank, that had to, incur the fee from their bank as well. So again, not many people are going to be on your side, especially lenders and banks. Another reason poor stay poor, and this is probably the number one. It's their interest rates on credit cards. Forget it. And once you get buried in the credit card situation, your interest that you're paying each month is almost as much as what you're paying towards the credit card, if not more. And obviously you know what that means. You're never going to get out of debt. So if you can only afford the minimum payment, which is less than or equal to the interest that you're getting charged, then obviously you're going to be kind of screwed in that hole. The good thing about the credit card companies, at least nowadays, is they tell you if you only pay the minimum payment, you're going to be paying this till you're dead, basically. So at least they have that now. I don't think they had that before. Anyway, the interest rates on credit cards are not friendly. That's why if you use a credit card, you need to pay it off. It's not, and by the time you learn that that's the way it should be done, you're already too old and too far in debt and you're broke. But, oh well, right? Another reason, and I recently heard this expression, you're only as smart as the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if you're poor, I'm guessing your friends are pretty poor. So you're lacking the financial education needed, to get out of this rut. You're just assuming, again, that this is how it is, and so you need to get yourself motivated to get out of that somehow. But unfortunately, growing up surrounding yourself with other poor people, you're not going to think otherwise. You're going to think this is acceptable. This is the way to live. You know, everyone's poor. This is how it is. So obviously, you know, lack of financial education is a huge one, and this is a problem everywhere. In my opinion, schools need to up their game with financial education. Middle school, high school, not just college. College slacks too, but it would certainly help, you know, help the children, you know, when they go out on their own. What the hell are they supposed to do? You know, they need to make big decisions, so they need to learn. From who? Like, if not on their own, no one. You know, again, because if you surround yourself with other poor people, no one's going to tell you shit because they don't know shit. Last but not least, the reason that people are poor is the cost of living is obvious. You know, the cost of living just keeps going up and up and up and up and up and up. And unfortunately, there's nothing you could do on that. So you just have to hope and pray that you yourself, well, number one, maybe you'll catch a break. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe you'll win a scratch off. Maybe you'll win the lottery. Maybe someone will leave you money. If not, you need to learn how to get out of debt on your own. And no, bankruptcy is not the answer, but learning how to pay off the debt and, you know, live debt-free, that's the answer. Going through it and surviving out of it, that's the answer. Not having the government bail you out, because that's just going to you're going to think you can do that over and over and over. And that's probably why we're freaking broke in the first place. Because of, you know, people are allowed to just claim bankruptcy, ruin their lives, claim bankruptcy, and that's it. You're forgiven. Start over. Anyway, on the flip side, I'm just going to talk about ways that the poor people can get out of their debt hole of life. Again, these are just things I wrote down, mostly from my experience, so take it with a grain of salt. And the first thing, which sucks, I'm not going to lie, it took me forever to do, but you have to, unfortunately, you have to look at your debt. You can't just be paying the minimum, ignoring it. I'm in debt, but I'm not looking at the bill. Fuck that. I'm not trying to be miserable today. But if you actually want to make a change and get out of the hole, you have to make a spreadsheet, or if you don't use a damn computer still, write it down. Write down every single piece of debt that you have. I mentioned debt to income ratio. If you're watching this video and you care because you're poor, you probably have a high debt to income ratio. You need to write down how much you owe to this credit card, that credit card, how much you owe on your car, how much you owe on your house. Houses, obviously, there's nothing really you can do with paying off that, but you need to write down the monthly payments required, not only to survive, but to get out of debt. You need to start with the lower bills that you can pay off. Again, if you have multiple credit cards, when you write it down, you can say, oh, this credit card has this interest rate, that has this. Let me pay off the higher interest rate first, so that'll help me not incur as much buildup of debt than the other. So, and let me not use this credit card either, because I never knew this credit card had a 25% interest rate, and my other one had 17%, because I never looked. So writing it down helps, huge. Learn Excel, write it on a spreadsheet, track your bills month to month, track the interest rates, track what they're charging in interest. It will be huge. Trust me. On to that point, once you start writing it down, look at your statements month to month. Assuming you're not using your credit cards at all or as much, just look at if this, track the ending balance to the next month. A good reason to do this is just to make sure there's no fraud. I know a lot of credit cards, you could sign up for alerts, which I would recommend. That way, it kind of tells you when your card is used for a certain amount or something. It gives you notification to avoid possible fraud. But if you don't have that, and you don't check your statement detail, or at least the balance change from month to month, you don't know what the hell. Someone could be using your shit, even for little amounts. Especially nowadays, people steal someone's shit every day. It's ridiculous, but it's just, again, that's easier once you start tracking your Excel spreadsheet and you look at your bills finally. So once you look at your bills, I think looking at the statement will be a lot easier. Again, when you're poor, one of the reasons is your income level sucks. So I would say, unfortunately, if needed, find a way to make more income. And my suggested first option is to get a new freaking job, honestly. If your job isn't paying you enough to get out of debt, then you need to either ask for a raise or get a new job. Sometimes, unfortunately, you have to have a job set up before you ask for the raise. You'll know your situation, but having leverage in a lot of cases will help. Rather than just going in and say, give me a raise, and they laugh at you. But if you say, I need a raise, or else I'm leaving in 2 to 3 weeks, they'll say, okay, how much are they going to pay you, this and that. Either that, or actually just find another job and bounce. That's it. You got to do what you got to do. Or, if your job is paying you well, and you just are in that much debt, you need another source of income. And that other source of income, if you have the time, obviously, it can be a part-time job. It's impossible to find weekend jobs, believe me, I know. But you have to, if you have to do it, you have to do it. Again, I would find something that you won't have to be stuck in. Find something that's a few days a week, not every freaking day. It's just another small source of income. Something that won't, destroy you and make you have no time in your life. But, is what it is. If you don't make enough, there's companies that will pay you more, believe me. What do we got here? Well, cars. As I mentioned, car loans. When you get a loan when you're poor on your own, your interest rate's going to suck, so your car payment's going to be more, and blah, blah, blah. So a lot of people, when they have a car loan, they're just used to having a car loan. So they say, I'm 3 years in, I don't want this car anymore. Let me just get another loan. What the hell is the difference? I'm paying $400 a month anyway. I might as well just get a car I like. No, fuck that. When you look at yourself today, look at your car, how much do you owe on it? How much is left? How many miles? Take care of your damn car. Make it last. Pay off the car loan. And having a life without a car loan is amazing. Imagine having an extra $400 a month. It's awesome. Yeah, you won't freaking have the best car on the lot at work or at school or whatever. Who gives a shit? In the long run, you'll be better off. Most people, they have a car loan for so long, they don't know life without a car loan. So what's the difference if you just get another loan in 3 years and then you get another 6-year loan and etc. and you keep going and going and going, rather than knowing, okay, if I take care of this car the right way, maybe I can make it last past the 6 years, and then it's house money from there, right? House money, no car payment. If you can make it last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, outside of that, boom, save up that $400 into something else. Use that $400, pay off the credit card bills. It's huge. Car loans suck because they're fixed and you have to pay a certain amount each month. It's like a mortgage, smaller obviously, but they're brutal, man. You certainly don't want to put a car on a credit card, but anyway. Next thing, if you want to get out of the hole, not only, I mentioned write down all your bills. Once you write down all your bills, you need to look at the other bills that you do have and say, all right, how can I cut this? If I have a $250 cable bill, how the hell can I get rid of this? Easily. Cut the damn cable. Live off Netflix. Live off Hulu. There's other streaming. Hulu has a live app, AT&T Direct Now. They have TV through streaming. There's so many cheaper ways now that you can live off, other than cable. The old school triple play. You gotta have the phone to get the full discount of the cable and the internet. But just make it work. Unfortunately, I think almost everybody needs the internet, especially if you work from home at all, or if your data plan sucks, and if you're going to stream, you need the internet at home. So that's a bill you cannot avoid, so you're stuck paying whatever the internet cost is. Outside of that, I think if you have a cell phone, you don't need a landline. And then you got to think, how much am I home and how much TV do I watch? I don't need 10,000 channels live. I watch it on DVR anyway. So if you get Hulu, it's basically just a DVR. Downfall is you can't watch live TV, which sucks if you like sports, but if you don't like sports, done. Do it easily. But anyway, other bills as well. Just see how you can cut them. AC for the electric. Do you have it low every night? Are you freezing? Do you need to live freezing? Things like that. Just, it's worth looking at, seeing how you can cut the bills that you never, even your cell phone bill. If you have a grandfathered unlimited data plan like I had, oh my God, they are ripping your ass off. They are charging you so much money now to get rid of that. And I had to do it because the charge was not worth it. You have to eventually, because they sell data plans now, so you have to just take what they offer. Take their shitty unlimited data plan and forfeit your high-speed data plan. It's all the same crap. How much speed do you need on the goddamn phone anyway, right? So like I said, take a look at your bills, cut your bills, etc. The credit card game, right? And it's a bitch. Like I said, once you write them down, you know which ones to pay off sooner than later. I'll say don't play the credit card transfer game unless you have a plan that you're going to stick to. And you have to compare what they're charging you for that transfer versus what you would have paid in interest. And is it actually worth it? So playing the credit card transfer game is not, a smart idea. Because, they'll send you this and that. Oh, 0%. Here you go. Boom. 0% for 12 months. Sounds awesome. But when your credit card is over $10,000 and you have about 5 other credit cards, before you know it, that 12 months is over and you didn't pay off anything. And now you have a higher APR than you had. But anyway, that's the credit card game. You got to get out. Speaking of credit cards, one way to help credit cards, aside from not using the higher APR card, is calling them individually and saying, I've been a customer for this amount of years. How about you lower my rate? And they'll probably say, piss off, or no, but maybe one of them out of the 5 will say, you know what, yeah, you've been a customer like 10 years. You've had timely payments for 10 years, we're going to lower you 1%. Woo! Maybe. I don't know. I've tried once, and I'll just say it didn't work. But looking at that card now compared to others, it was a lower rate. So they knew they had the leverage. So I would start with the higher interest rate cards that you know you're going to have a balance on and you can't avoid. Just call them and say, listen, my other cards are offering this, so I'm gonna put my money here unless you can lower my rate. So it's not a bad idea to try. Last but not least, how to get out of debt and stop being poor is, I know people tell you this all the time, you want to tell them to shove it, is create an emergency fund, create a savings, create a side, stash of money, and put your money to work. That side stash of money, put it to work. Meaning, again, my channel, it's called The Broke Investor, but I mostly talk about my journey to financial freedom, and my journey to financial freedom is getting paid from dividends. So, again, there's Robinhood. Robinhood is it's free. It's not like your savings account. It doesn't require a minimum. It's free, and any money you can save, and you can put in a Robinhood, learn some stocks, earn some dividends, have your money pay you money. Again, an advantage I feel like having money in Robinhood rather than sitting in the savings is I'm not going to touch it. So I look at it as a more secure way of me forcing to save money. But the idea is to never use it, of course. I'm sure that's everyone's idea. But that would be, to me, it's also an emergency fund. I'm trying to also build a savings account emergency fund. Which again, yeah, it's not easy because it's in your savings. You just transfer it out and you're checking, boom, boom, boom. It's in your Robinhood. You have to sell the stock. Are you at a, is it a loss? And then you have to transfer out of Robinhood. I mean, you're more than likely going to leave your money alone if it's in a brokerage account. So, start your emergency fund / brokerage account and make your money, earn your money. Yes, when you're poor, you can make you money still, You don't have to be poor forever. There's a way out. So, learn the market. Let's stop being poor. Let's follow this channel, and I'll show you, how I'm going from poor to middle class to upper middle class to hopefully retired and halfway wealthy. That's the dream, right? We do what we can. But again, this channel's about learning together. I'm not already there. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a bullshit artist here, so I'm in the same boat as you probably. But I want to share my experiences and how I can get out, and if I got out. But thank you for watching. If you're still here, and have fun at work.